being said, welcome back to another episode of HardFoul Radio. This is the show that values time and puts God first. Let's get into it. So we have to start with this. The Lakers lost again last night. They've now lost 7 out of 10. And here's the reality with the Los Angeles Lakers. Everybody just kind of bought into it a little too soon. Now, it was the perfect storm for the Lakers on every account. There was the perfect storm on the court, which is teams during that win streak when Luka first got to LA, and they were part of the 8-game win streak. I know Luka wasn't there for technically every game, but when they went on that, and it was great, it looked wonderful. It's like, oh my gosh, what a match made in basketball heaven. When the reality was, the Lakers were the number one defense in the NBA during that stretch, and it made no sense. You traded away your best defensive player for a guy who, even if you're a very staunch Luka defender and you believe, oh, he's not as bad as the analytics say or as people's eyes say, you don't trade away one of the best defenders in the NBA in Anthony Davis and then get better because you brought in Luka Doncic. It just doesn't work that way. So teams were shooting under 30% during the Lakers win streak. Some of that you can account to defense. Some of that is just outright missing shots. And the problem with just teams missing shots or not playing well, you cannot count on that reliably. It's not consistent. It is not a way to continuously win in this league. Second, it worked out in the media. Everything that was going for LA during that stretch, during that winning streak, the media loved it. They're winning games. Again, they had the number one defense, so you had talking points. And it's just LA, it's big city. The media loved it. The Lakers were back to being super relevant in terms of actual basketball product. And on the other side of it, everything went wrong for Dallas. AD got hurt. Kyrie got hurt. Multiple guys. The Mavericks ended up losing 5-6 of their top rotation guys to injury. And so everybody just kept going boom, 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 shitting on Dallas. Oh my gosh, what a horrible decision. And everybody was just upping the Lakers. And it was this perfect storm of look how smart we are and look how dumb they are. Well, now reality's starting to set a little bit back in. LeBron got hurt. That's going to happen. He's 40. The defense isn't as good as it was. Not number one in the NBA anymore. That's going to happen. Teams are making shots against them. They just gave up 150 to the Bulls. The Magic, who struggle offensively, they just gave up almost 120 to them. We're starting to see some of the things that are the reality of the Lakers situation, which is, yes, some guys are going to tell you Luka, LeBron, 2 top 5, top 6, however high you want to rank them players in the NBA, how scary they're going to be on offense. And other guys are going to tell you, you have maybe the greatest 40-year-old in the history of professional sports, fine, but still a 40-year-old, and a defensive liability, not great shape guard who, say what you want about Nico Harrison, there is a reason as an organization, even though they were coming off an NBA Finals, and I don't agree with the trade, but there is some semi-smart people in Dallas, and they said, this guy can't do it with him. There's going to be some validity to that. We're going to see that at some point in time play out, and we're going to go, oh, I understand what the Mavericks were thinking. Again, it was all great when it was an 8-game win streak. It was all great when it was the best defense in the NBA, and everybody on Dallas looked dumb, and they were having guys get hurt, and they were talking about shutting AD down for the season. But now as you look at the best teams in the West, the best teams in the East, the best teams who should be competing for a title, why should we have the Lakers above any of those teams? The only argument that people are now sticking to is, well, the Rockets are young. The Thunder are young. And while, yes, there's some validity to that, if that's your only argument, you need a better argument. Just saying these other teams are younger than Los Angeles. Everyone's going to be younger than Lakers. LeBron's 40. Everybody's younger than him. Even if you average out his age between him and his son, every other team in the West is going to be younger than them. Every team in the East, besides Milwaukee, is going to be younger than them. That's just their reality. And guess what? Older teams are more of a risk to injury. They are more of a risk to their defense breaking down later in the season. Because as much as you can say these young guys have never been here before, LeBron doesn't have another 90-game season if they make a deep playoff run. And I know he's not going to play. Obviously he just missed some time with an injury. But LeBron, even when he's healthy, he's not going to go out there and play 80, 90 games, trying to get back to the finals. His body's not built for that at this current moment. So I know we all loved the Lakers. Everybody fell in love with them. They were doing everything right. Could do no wrong. Look at that. And the NBA, it was great because now all you NBA are rigged people, the NBA's rigged. They just gave the Lakers the superstar. Take a deep breath. Calm down. Water always finds its level. And this is the current level. Are the Lakers a good team? Yes. Are they a title contending team? No. Is their best player, whoever you think it is, their best player is either old and a guy who at 40, again, maybe the best in the history of professional sports at that age, but is still a 40-year-old in professional sports, or another guy who's a defensive liability, not in great shape, and people are going to look at his raw numbers and go, look what his raw numbers averaging. Have you looked at Luka's shooting percentage since he's been a Laker? The special part of Luka isn't just that he can put up these raw numbers. Anyone, I don't want to say anyone, that's demeaning to what professional athletes do, but any really good to all-star level player, this is what they always talk about. If they had the same amount of opportunities as Luka had, they could put up really good raw numbers. The guys who stand out are the guys, we don't just go, Steph's great because of, if Steph had made all his threes, but he was shooting 28% from the three-point line, he just took a million shots a game, we would not celebrate him the way that we do. So Luka's not shooting well, he's never going to be great on defense, and the Lakers' defense, especially these last couple nights, keep getting exposed. And I even saw someone on tweet today said, well, one of those games doesn't count because LeBron missed. LeBron defensively is not a difference maker at 40 years old. I'm sorry. So we all fell in love. Well, I didn't, but a lot of you fell in love with the Lakers way too fast. Take a deep breath. Calm down. Another thing in the NBA I want to discuss is tanking. And now the NBA has been on a roll. They made a concerted effort this offseason and said, hey, look, we are going to start cracking down on tanking. We are tired of teams going, hey, we're just going to start resting guys who don't need rest. And injuries seem to have taken a longer time than normal. I love Brandon Ingram, but Brandon Ingram might have the worst sprained ankle in the history of sprained ankles. Quote, Brian Windhorst. Like, some of these teams are just getting away with outright, well, we want to be in the Cooper Flag Ace Bailey competition. So if we're not going to have a chance to truly compete for a title, this is what we're doing. And everybody's saying the NBA's answer to a lot of this is we're going to fine. Go Google Steve Ballmer's net worth. I'm just using the Clippers as an example. And not everybody's as rich as Steve Ballmer, but I want to get the point across. Go Google Steve Ballmer's net worth. And then what the NBA is doing is finding teams $100,000. Go look at his net worth. A lot of Twitter police have to do this. Go look at his net worth, then Google, then go use a calculator, and what $100,000 is to his percentage of a net worth. You could do, I heard Colin say this earlier, you could find Steve Ballmer several $1 million. And I'm talking about 8-figure fine. Fine him $10 million, $20 million, which would be an unprecedented fine for a sports league. It's not going to move the needle because if the Clippers are in a tanking situation, what is $10 million if it means I get Cooper Flag? What's $10 million if it means I get Ace Bailey? So what you have to do, and this is my proposition to how you would prevent teams from tanking, truly. Now, you're going to have to find a way to prove this because the owners are going to fight back. And so this is not a, let me tell you the exact details, give you the full breakdown. This is the idea I want to put out there. In the NBA lottery, if you're familiar with it, we get these ping pong balls and you start, your odds, if you are the last team to miss the playoffs, you're normally around like a 1% or a little under 1% chance of the number one overall pick. But you get slotted, there's these brackets for a really basic way to explain this. So if you're the team and you're supposed to get the 14th pick because that's what the percentage would be, and you miss that, the next time you're available to get picked is up around 8 or 9. So you've already improved your draft odds tremendously. So all you got to do is, if you're one of those teams, let's call it a 3-strike rule to be fair. Hey, first time, we're going to fine you $100,000 if we think you are intentionally tanking. Utah, Philadelphia, New Orleans come under question. Second time, it's going to be $1 million. Again, these owners are too rich. That's not going to move them that much. But on that third time, if you are proven to be maliciously tanking, which ruins the experience for the fans who spend their hard-earned money to come to these games, that you're deciding to tank and pull your stars out, or trying to rest guys who don't need rest, you are immediately dropped down from whatever bracket you're in, and you go down one. So if you were one of those teams, let's say you are the Utah Jazz, who have been fined and been investigated for potentially taking, and we know they are. The Jazz, don't have enough talent to win just regularly, let alone start to try to compete for an NBA championship. So if they're in that top 3 potential, all you got to do is the NBA, third strike, you're knocked down. You can't pick any higher than 4th. You get hit again, you can't pick any higher than 9th. You want to disincentivize them right off the bat? Knock them down a bracket. And there's a better word to use for bracket, but I want to make this as easy to understand for everybody listening. If you're the Jazz, you're the Sixers, you're the Pelicans, and you're in that 1 to 3 area, okay, well, you got third strike, boom, now you're down to you can't pick any higher than 5th. Because now you're not going to get a chance to get Cooper Flag. You're not going to get a chance to get Bailey. You're going to miss out on some of these guys. We've degraded the regular season. Now, a lot of the people in the media that are complaining about it, I also believe you are still part of the problem. You demeaned the regular season so hard when you considered it wasn't that important, when we stopped giving guys credit for winning 50-plus games in a season, and if you go out in the second round, your season was a failure. You made these guys' careers basically come down to, all right, you need to play good during this exact 2-week stretch of basketball. I believe you are still at fault. But if you want to truly punish the teams and do something impactful, drop them down a bracket. It's the only way you can make these, because you can't fine them enough. They make too much money. They're too rich. Again, fine Steve Ballmer. If the Clippers situation blows up and James Harden just gets old overnight and Kawhi can't stay healthy anymore and they're trying to tank next year, you could fine Steve Ballmer $100 million. The top pick or the ability to get a franchise guy is worth so much more money, you're not going to stop him from doing anything besides just raising season ticket prices.